There is a silence that descends before great shifts, a silence not made of absence, but of anticipation. In that stillness, something ancient stirs, a recognition that what has held authority for too long without balance is nearing its inevitable collapse. When I was shown the vision of power being removed, it was not thunder that spoke, but stillness. And in that stillness I understood. God does not speak to fright, He speaks to free. On the 5th of July 2025, a veil will fall, not just upon a man, but upon a structure that has become too proud, too blind, too disconnected from truth. It will not be an ordinary removal, not the shifting of one position for another. No, this will be a divine rebalancing, a forced turning of a page that too many were clinging to. The world has been living under the weight of illusions, masks worn so long that even the wearers began to believe in them. But God's timing is not concerned with appearances. He waits for the exact moment when the collapse of illusion serves the maximum awakening of the human soul. To be shown such a vision is not to be given power over the future. It is to be entrusted with the responsibility of awareness. The image of one being removed from their throne is not about vengeance or spectacle. It is the unfolding of cosmic justice, the kind that moves beyond courtrooms or public approval. It is what happens when the divine decides that a certain frequency can no longer survive in the light that is coming, a frequency of control, of deception, of self-worship disguised as leadership. And so, but make no mistake, the removal is only the outer layer. What God is truly showing is the truth behind the throne, the invisible architecture of manipulation, the networks of fear, the system that sustained one man's rise and permitted many others to remain silent. Power, in the worldly sense, does not exist in isolation. It is fed by belief, protected by fear, and maintained by the absence of truth. When that is stripped away, what remains is not simply the fall of a person. It is the unveiling of all that we refuse to question. So many will be shocked. They will say, how could this happen? But the real question is, how did it last this long? Because we allowed it. We traded truth for comfort. We sacrificed inner clarity for the illusion of safety. We idolized those who looked strong instead of those who were aligned. And when the fall comes, many will grieve, not the man, but the loss of the idea they attach to him. This is why the fall is not just external. It is a mirror held up to every soul. It is an invitation to ask, what within me supported this illusion? The unconscious within each of us is what fuels the unconscious in the world. And the removal of one from power only matters if it awakens us to remove falsehood from our own lives. God does not expose to punish, He exposes to awaken. He reveals so that healing can finally begin. But healing does not begin with celebration. It begins with humility. Those who cheer at the fall are still bound by ego. True awakening sees beyond the surface. It grieves for the collective deception. It feels the cost of every year spent under illusion. It recognizes that while a man may be removed from a seat, the deeper seat within the minds and hearts of millions must still be vacated. And that work cannot be done in the headlines. It must be done in stillness, in reflection, in the silence where the soul speaks. The world is preparing for a shift that many are not ready to see. But readiness is not comfort. Readiness is willingness. Willingness to see the truth, even when it burns. Willingness to release what we once defended. Willingness to admit, I was wrong. That is how new power is born, not in speeches, not in victories, but in the quiet moments when the ego finally surrenders to truth. The one who is removed will not fall alone. Every structure built on the same frequency will tremble. You will feel it, not just in the news, but in your body, in your relationships, in your perception of reality. Because the collapse of one external power activates 1,000 internal shifts. The illusions you depended on will feel unstable. The patterns you repeated without thought will suddenly feel unbearable. The truths you avoided will echo louder than ever. And in this moment you must choose. Will you cling to the old or surrender to the new? Because God's vision is not a prophecy of destruction, it is a doorway to realignment. But that doorway is narrow. You cannot walk through it carrying pride. You cannot walk through it blaming others. You cannot walk through it distracted by noise. You must be empty. Empty enough to hear the guidance that comes without words. Empty enough to receive the light that reveals what must still be dissolved. The one being removed is not the beginning of the story, it is the middle. What matters now is what follows. When the world is shocked, will you be still? When others seek revenge, will you seek understanding? When confusion rises, will you remain rooted? Because in the aftermath of collapse, true leadership emerges. Not the leadership that controls, but the leadership that clarifies. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that radiates calm. You are being prepared for this. Not to take a throne, but to hold a space. Not to command, but to guide. Not to dominate, but to align. Many people believe that the removal of power is the end, but God's wisdom is more intricate. What is removed outwardly must now be cultivated inwardly. You are not being asked to watch history. You are being asked to transcend it. And you cannot transcend what you still cling to. Release your loyalty to illusions. Release your identification with false strength. Release your attachment to personalities and begin to anchor in principles. This is the invitation of the moment. You were not shown this message to panic. You were shown it to prepare. Not externally, but internally. Because the real earthquake does not happen in the world, it happens in the soul. It shakes the foundation of your beliefs. It fractures the walls of your limitations. It cracks open the parts of you that settled for shallow truths. And in that breaking, something deeper is born. A knowing, a seeing, a state of presence so quiet that it does not need proof. It just knows. On July 5th, the world will witness a shift. But those who are awake will understand that the shift is not about one man. It is about all of us. It is about the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. One written not by force, but by awareness. Not by the few, but by the awakened many. And the first step is to remember. When power is removed, it is not a punishment. It is a purging. It is the cleansing of what no longer serves. It is the dissolving of what no longer resonates, and in its place, truth stands quietly, waiting to be seen. Truth does not shout. It does not demand. It waits. It watches. It remains constant while the illusions rise and fall. And when the noise fades, it is still there, unshaken. That is the kind of truth we are being called to embody. The kind that does not rise and fall with public opinion. The kind that does not require external validation. The kind that radiates from inner stillness. So ask yourself now, before the date arrives, what power within me must be removed? What illusion must I let go of? What false role must I step down from? Because the shift is not only about the one, it is about everyone. Each of us carries a small throne inside, one that the ego sits upon, making decisions rooted in fear, image, and control. But now, that throne must be vacated. The soul must return to its rightful place as guide. And that transition, though subtle, is the greatest revolution of all. You were born for this moment, not to fear it, but to meet it with clarity. Not to hide, but to rise. Not to react, but to reflect. And then, to walk forward. Not as a follower of the fallen, but as a beacon of what rises next. For when power is removed and truth is revealed, the soul has one responsibility: to live in alignment with what it now sees. And that is where the true journey begins. Prepare your inner kingdom before the outer one falls. These words are not a metaphor, they are a map, a sacred reminder that the deepest shifts in our lives are not born from what happens in the world, but from what we have nurtured, neglected, or ignored within ourselves. The vision that was given, the removal of one from power, was not given as entertainment nor prophecy to stir the curious. It was given as instruction, as preparation, as a call to return to the one place that cannot be shaken by events, no matter how global, no matter how shocking, the stillness within. This is not about politics. This is not about nations. This is about vibration, a frequency shift, a dismantling of illusions. And every illusion that collapses out there, if you are awake, reflects one that must also be surrendered inside you. Too many spend their lives staring out the window, reacting to the weather, unaware that their soul remains a storm. What is the use of predicting the sky if you cannot still the thunder in your own mind? The fall that is coming, the fall that has already begun, is only visible to those whose eyes are not fixed outwardly. It will be felt by those who are prepared, not with strategies, but with silence. You do not need to flee cities. You do not need to hoard supplies. You need to return to the place in you that the world cannot touch, the inner temple, the sanctuary of presence. In that space, there is no panic. There is no confusion. There is only clarity, and clarity is power. When a man falls, when a structure collapses, the collective spirit looks for something to lean on. That is why fear spreads so quickly, because most have not built the inner scaffolding required to withstand the collapse of outer dependency. They were not trained to seek stability inside. They were taught to look for saviors, for leaders, for symbols of control. But God does not elevate those symbols to replace himself. He allows them only until the soul is ready to awaken. And when he removes them, it is not a punishment. It is an invitation. To lead yourself, to govern your own energy, to rise, not in dominance, but in discipline. This is what preparing the inner kingdom means. It means learning how to sit with discomfort and not escape. It means training the mind to return to breath when chaos screams. It means releasing your identity as someone who needs external order to feel safe. Safety does not come from governments. It does not come from systems. It comes from alignment. And alignment is cultivated, like a muscle, like a garden. You tend to it every day, not just when the storm arrives. You breathe into it. You listen to the quiet voice that has been whispering under your thoughts all along. That voice is not loud, but it is wise. And when everything falls, that voice will remain. To prepare your inner kingdom is to remove the false kings that you have allowed to sit on the throne of your mind. The king of fear, the king of doubt, the king of comparison, the king of needing approval. These voices have ruled you longer than any man in power, and now is the time to dethrone them. With gentleness, but with firmness. With patience, but with determination. You see, the real battle is not the one the world will show you on the news. The real battle is between the part of you that wants to stay asleep and the part of you that is waking up. An awakening is not a moment. It is a movement, a practice, a path. The world may appear to be shaking, but the real quake begins within. If you do not know how to center your spirit, the fall of another will become your own. Not because it was meant to be, but because you never learned how to separate truth from noise. And the truth is this: your peace was never meant to be borrowed. Your stability was never meant to depend on others. Your purpose was never supposed to be postponed until the world was calm. It was meant to be lived now, even in uncertainty, especially in uncertainty. There is a great paradox hidden in preparation. It is not the kind that runs and hides. It is the kind that becomes more visible, more available, more compassionate, more anchored. When the external world is falling, the prepared soul becomes a pillar, not of power as the world defines it, but of presence. A walking reminder that there is a different way to respond, a higher way, a quieter way. And it is that energy, calm, non-reactive, rooted, that becomes more powerful than any speech, any warning, any broadcast. That energy heals the environment around it. It softens fear. It invites stillness. It breaks the spell of panic. But such energy is not spontaneous. It is cultivated, like fire. It must be tended in advance. When the match is lit, you do not begin searching for wood. You must already have gathered it. When the winds come, you do not begin to build your shelter. You must have built it, nail by nail, moment by moment, in the hours when no one was watching. That is how you prepare your inner kingdom. Quietly, without applause, with the discipline of daily return. Returning to your breath, returning to your values, returning to the silence that connects you to the divine. On July 5, many eyes will open in shock, but the eyes that have been opened will not be shaken. They will understand. Not everything that collapses is a tragedy. Sometimes the collapse is mercy. Sometimes the fall is the only way for truth to rise. And those who are grounded will not resist it. They will not rush to replace the fallen king. They will instead look inward and ask, what inside me has changed? What illusions have I shed? What new responsibility am I now called to hold? Because responsibility is the real test. You see, when we are no longer distracted by false leaders, false idols, false promises, we are left with only ourselves. And in that moment, many will realize they do not know who they are. They were built around reaction, around external chaos, around dependency. And when those distractions are removed, they will feel emptiness. But that emptiness is not a curse. It is the starting point, the soil for new awareness, the birth of real inner presence. And presence is what this world has been starving for. Do not wait until the world collapses to seek stability. Begin now, prepare now, not in fear but in love. Love for yourself, your clarity, your alignment. Love for the future you who will thank you for the calm you are cultivating today. Meditation is not just practice, it is construction. Each moment you sit in stillness, you are laying the bricks of your inner fortress. Not to isolate yourself, but to create a space where clarity lives. A space you can return to when the outer voices scream. The power being removed is symbolic, a symbol of what is no longer sustainable, what is no longer aligned with where the world must go. But the real story is the transformation that it will trigger in the collective spirit. Some will resist, some will descend into blame and confusion, but others, those who prepared, will rise. They will not rise in dominance, they will rise in serenity. They will become the new compass for those lost in chaos, not because they want to be seen, but because they cannot help but shine. To prepare your inner kingdom is not selfish. It is the most sacred gift you can offer to the world. Because when the outer kingdom begins to fall, those without roots will reach out. And if your roots run deep, you can be the tree, the anchor, the reminder that what is real cannot be taken. That peace is possible, even here, even now. This is not about being perfect. It is about being present. Present enough to notice your reactions. Present enough to choose alignment over panic. Present enough to stop seeking saviors and start embodying your own soul's guidance. There is a quiet wisdom that lives in each of us, but we only hear it when we are willing to turn away from the noise. That willingness is your preparation, that decision is your power, and that presence is what will carry you through any storm. The outer kingdom may fall, but the inner kingdom, if built in truth, will remain unshaken. And from that place, a new world will begin, not through force, not through fear, but through the quiet courage of those who dared to prepare before the signs became obvious. The shift has already begun. Do not wait for the headlines. Begin now, in breath, in silence, in the simple, sacred act of returning home to yourself. There are moments in time when the fall of one is not simply the end of a reign, but the beginning of a ripple that flows through minds, through hearts, through the unseen corners of human awareness. A single event, a collapse, a removal, a dethroning, can shatter the illusion of permanence and remind the soul that power is not eternal unless it is aligned with truth. When God showed me the vision of a man being removed from power on July 5, 2025, I did not see merely a political shift. I saw the cracking open of a collective trance. I saw the hypnotized awaken. I saw eyes, long kept shut by comfort, by fear, by tradition, begin to open not because they were told, but because they could no longer ignore what was happening inside. The fall of one because the alarm clock for millions, not because they cared for him and not because they hated him, but because in his fall something they believed about the world began to crumble. A story that held their worldview together started to dissolve. That story might be about power, about security, about leadership, or even about God. And when stories dissolve, identity is shaken. But it is through that shaking that the soul has a chance to stand. For too long, people have been taught that awakening is soft, gentle, romantic. But awakening, when it is real, begins with a shattering. It begins with a collapse. Something false must die before something real can live. The one who falls may appear to fall alone, but he falls with the weight of countless unconscious agreements that allowed deception to live, that permitted truth to be ignored, that rewarded performance over alignment. When that structure falls, it is not just one life. It is a symbol of all we tolerated, all we excused, all we avoided. That is why the fall stirs so many reactions. It is not about the man, it is about what we see of ourselves in him. And when the outer mirror breaks, the inner denial breaks with it. People begin to feel what they refused to feel. They begin to ask what they never dared to ask. They begin to remember what they had forgotten in the rush of routine. The awakening that follows is not loud. It is not on the news. It is not on stages. It happens in bedrooms, in hearts, in quiet conversations between the soul and the self. A person looks into the mirror and says, "What else have I blindly followed?" They ask, "Who else have I given power to that never earned it?" They whisper, "What if I was wrong?" These are the sacred questions. These are the tremors of real awakening. Not the questions that seek to blame, but the questions that seek to see. Because to awaken is to see through the veil that once comforted and controlled. Many will not understand. They will think the event was just a scandal, just a political shift. But those who are attuned know this is spiritual. This is energy rising. This is light entering where darkness hid for too long. This is God removing what blocks the collective from ascending. And when something is removed by divine will, it is not only because it was harmful, it is because the people have reached a threshold, a point of spiritual readiness. A point where they can no longer evolve under illusion, and so illusion is taken away, even if it hurts. This is how grace often looks. It does not come wrapped in comfort, it comes wrapped in disruption. Because only in disruption does the soul become fully alert. That alertness is awakening, that trembling in the gut, that unease in the chest, that cracking in the mind. It is the birth of a new way of seeing. The fall of one opens the inner eyes of many, and what they see they cannot unsee. They see how they gave away their power. They see how they confuse charisma with truth. They see how silence was never safety, it was complicity. And now there is no going back. This is why God allows these moments, not to punish, but to pivot, not to destroy, but to expose. And through that exposure, humanity is offered a window, a narrow, brief opening into a higher awareness. But that window does not stay open forever. It requires courage to step through it, courage to admit you were asleep, courage to let go of the stories that defined you, courage to begin again, but this time from presence, this time from within. The awakening of many is not always dramatic. Some will feel it as a whisper, a strange stillness that follows the noise. Others will feel it as a fire, a rage against everything false. Some will walk away from long-held beliefs. Others will suddenly remember their purpose, their soul's mission, as if something ancient was reawakened. You see, the fall was never just about power being removed. It was about space being made, space for something truer to rise. But only those who are present can receive it. The world will say, "Who will lead us now?" But the awakened do not ask this question, because they know the era of blind leadership is ending. The era of dependency is closing. This is the era of sovereign alignment, where every soul becomes responsible for its own truth, where guidance is no longer outsourced, where God is no longer found in institutions, but in silence, in breath, in awareness. There is something deeply humbling about watching the mighty fall. It reminds us that all things built without truth will eventually crumble. It reminds us that nothing hidden stays hidden forever. It reminds us that energy does not lie, even when words do. And so the awakening begins not with noise, but with honesty. Brutal, liberating honesty. I ignored the signs. I clung to the lie. I believed in the image, not the energy. These confessions are not shameful, they are sacred. They are the first steps out of the trance. Do not fear the fall. Fear the refusal to awaken after it. Fear the urge to replace one illusion with another. Fear the temptation to fill the silence with noise. Because in that silence, something sacred is waiting. The soul does not scream, it waits. And when the old collapses, the soul quietly whispers, "Now, are you ready to hear me?" The ones who awaken now will not look like the leaders of before. They will not crave applause. They will not chase followers. They will radiate alignment. Their power will not come from titles or platforms. It will come from inner coherence, from living in integrity when no one is watching, from choosing stillness over strategy. These are the new pillars, the ones who rise, not above, but within. You see, the awakening of many is not about rebellion, it is about remembrance. A remembrance of who we are when the masks fall. A remembrance of the values we traded for convenience. A remembrance of the path we walked before the world told us to chase shadows. And when many remember together, something shifts in the collective field. The air becomes different. The energy becomes lighter. The choices become clearer. That is what God showed me. Not just the fall, but the awakening. The breath that returns when control is lifted. The clarity that descends when illusion is removed. The sacred chaos that births new order. Not imposed from above, but emerging from within. This is why the timing is divine. Because the world is ripe. Not for more systems, but for more soul. Not for louder leaders, but for quieter wisdom. Wisdom is rising. Like a tide, like a hum beneath the noise. Each person who awakens becomes a tuning fork. Their presence vibrates. It touches others, not with effort, but with frequency. And soon, one becomes two, two become four, four become 100. This is how awakening spreads. Not through force, through frequency, through resonance, through remembrance. The fall of one reveals the awakening of many, because it interrupts the pattern, it breaks the loop. It shocks the system just enough to create a crack, and in that crack, light enters. And those who have waited for that light, even without knowing it, begin to stir. They begin to feel the call they had buried. They begin to walk a different path, not louder, but truer. You will know these souls. They will not need to speak loudly. Their eyes will tell you everything. Their presence will remind you of your own. They will not seek to convince. They will seek to become. And in becoming, they become the evidence that God is still moving, that Spirit is still working, that awakening is not a myth, but a movement. This is the moment, not of endings but of emergence, not of fear but of frequency. And if you are reading this now, you are part of it. Not a bystander, not a spectator, but a participant in the sacred return. Return to truth, return to stillness, return to the soul. Let the fall open you. Let the awakening reach you. Let the silence speak to you. You do not need to shout your awakening. Live it. Embody it. And in doing so, you become the evidence of what's possible after the fall. It is not the fall that defines the future, but what we choose to build in its silence. When power is stripped from the hands of one who held it tightly, the world often rushes to fill the space with noise, opinion, speculation, and fear. But the divine does not operate on noise. The divine speaks most clearly when everything else has gone quiet. And so it is in the stillness after the storm, when the dust has not yet settled and the echoes of control are still dissolving in the air, that the future is born. Not from systems, not from strategies, but from the consciousness of those who remain. This is why the true work begins after the fall, not before. Because once the illusion is gone, we are finally faced with the real question: what now must we become? There is a temptation always to react, to scramble, to reassemble the pieces into a new shape that feels familiar. The ego hates emptiness. It hates the unknown. And so it will offer many paths, quick fixes, new authorities, more distractions, to avoid sitting in the void left behind when a leader is removed. But the wise do not rush to rebuild. The wise wait. The wise listen. Because what comes next must not be a reaction. It must be a response from truth. That response does not come from intellect. It comes from stillness. It comes from alignment. It comes from remembering that true power does not arrive with force. It arrives through clarity. And clarity can only speak when we are silent enough to hear it. This is the invitation God offers every time something falls away. Do not just replace it, transcend it. Become something new. But to become new, we must be willing to let go of the safety of the old. We must walk through the in-between, the threshold, the sacred space where the old world no longer holds us, but the new world has not yet formed. That space is uncomfortable. That space is vulnerable. That space is vulnerable. But that space is also holy, because it is in that space that we decide not what the future will be, but what we will be inside of it. The fall of a man, no matter how powerful he seemed, is nothing compared to the fall of unconsciousness. That is the deeper shift. When unconsciousness loses its grip on the collective mind, when people no longer nod blindly, when eyes once closed begin to see, that is when transformation truly begins. And transformation does not begin outside. It begins with one breath, one decision, one soul saying, I will no longer live from fear. That is how the future begins, not with laws, not with speeches, but with presence, deep, unwavering presence. You must understand that presence is not passive. Presence is active surrender. It is the choice to be fully here, fully awake, fully responsible for how you respond to what is happening. You are not responsible for the fall, but you are responsible for your frequency in the aftermath. You are responsible for what you radiate into the field. You are responsible for whether your words heal or divide, whether your energy anchors or amplifies chaos. That responsibility is sacred. It is the power you hold even when others lose theirs. And now is the moment to use it. When God removes someone from power, He is not only clearing space, He is also revealing the parts of us that were hidden behind their shadow, the dependency, the blame, the comfort in not having to lead ourselves. And when that shadow is gone, the mirror is clean. We see ourselves more clearly, and that clarity can feel harsh at first. It can reveal how often we waited, how often we avoid it, how often we followed instead of listening to the guidance within. But do not use that clarity to punish yourself. Use it to begin. Begin again. Begin with deeper intention. Begin with stillness as your compass. In the aftermath of collapse, the future is shaped not by what people say, but by what they embody. If we want a world rooted in peace, we must become peace. If we want truth to rise, we must speak truth, even when it costs us comfort. If we want power to be just, we must ensure our inner power is pure, not born from ego, but from awareness. This is the deeper path of spiritual maturity. It is easy to watch someone fall. It is harder to rise within yourself when no one is watching. So ask yourself now, in the quiet, in the space where the old power once stood, who am I without that external force? What do I choose to carry forward? What will I release? And what will I build? Not from fear, not from urgency, but from alignment with the divine. Because you're always building something. With every word, with every thought, with every intention. The question is not whether you are creating. The question is whether you are creating from truth. The vision I was given was not about a man. It was about a moment, a tipping point, a space where humanity was being handed a choice. Not a choice in the outer world, but a choice in consciousness. Will you rise into the awareness you were always meant to live from? Or will you cling to the illusion, waiting for the next figure to fill the void? That choice is being asked now. It is asked not with words, but with energy. It whispers in your restlessness. It stirs in your discomfort. It sings through your longing. The longing to live from something real. The longing to no longer pretend. The longing to align. And in that longing is the seed of the new future. But a seed must be planted, it must be nurtured, it must be protected from the noise that says, hurry up, decide, fix it, solve it. The world will demand quick answers. But the soul knows that the sacred cannot be rushed. The sacred must be honored. And that means allowing this silence to shape you before you try to shape the world. That means letting God rewire your perception before you go out and build with old patterns. That means becoming so still, so rooted, so clear, that when the time comes to act, you act. Not from habit, but from the deepest alignment with your purpose. And purpose is not a role, it is a resonance. It is the energy you carry when you walk into a room. It is the vibration you hold when no one is listening. It is the silent commitment you make to live from truth, even when the world rewards lies. And now, in the absence of the old power, your purpose becomes more visible, not because it changed, but because the distractions have fallen. And what remains is your essence. And what remains is your essence. That essence is needed now, not in speeches, not in declarations, but in the quiet ways you hold space. The way you breathe when others are panicking, the way you listen when others are shouting, the way you remain rooted in presence when the world sways between confusion and control. That energy is leadership, not the kind that seeks followers, but the kind that radiates alignment so powerfully that others remember their own. This is the power God is restoring to his people, not the power to dominate, but the power to hold truth, to hold peace, to hold clarity, to hold space for others to awaken. And that power begins with the decision to no longer be moved by what falls, but by what rises within you. Because what rises within you now, in this moment, is more important than anything that collapses outside. So be still. Not because you are doing nothing, but because you are doing the most important thing. Listening. Listening to the soul's instructions. Listening to the divine frequency that speaks beneath the noise. Listening to the soft, steady voice that says, be not afraid, I am doing a new thing. That new thing begins in you. It begins in how you see, how you respond, how you lead your own energy. Because in the days to come, others will look for direction. And if you are still, if you are grounded, if you are aligned, You will not need to say much. Your presence will be enough. Let this be the foundation of what comes next. Not a new structure built on old fear, but a new way of being born from stillness. Let the fall be honored, not with panic, but with prayer. Not with replacement, but with reflection. And not with vengeance, but with vision. Because vision is what God gives in the silence. And it is from that vision, not reaction, that the new world will begin. The silence after the fall is sacred. It is where the soul speaks clearest. It is where the future takes its first breath, and it is where the awakened ones are being called, not to lead with noise, but to build with presence. Let that presence be you. Let that presence be now. You are the result of your resilience. Those 7 words hold more truth than you might realize right now. Every single thing you've been through, every sleepless night, every disappointment, every battle that no one saw has been shaping you into who you are today. It's easy to look at your reflection and see only the tiredness, the scars, or the moments you think you failed. But if you could step back and see yourself from a wider view, you'd see the story of someone who refused to stop, even when everything around them said to give up. That's resilience. That's strength disguised as persistence, and it's the reason you're still standing here. Resilience doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it looks like getting out of bed when your heart feels heavy. It looks like starting over after losing what you thought was permanent. It looks like forgiving yourself when you didn't meet your own expectations. You've carried the weight of things that would have broken others. Yet here you are, not just existing, but evolving. The truth is, life never promised to be fair. It never promised that things would happen on your timeline. But it did promise one thing, that the human spirit, when tested, can rise from ashes stronger than before. You are living proof of that promise. Think about the times you thought it was over, when you said, "I can't do this anymore." And yet, something deep inside whispered, just one more step. That voice, that whisper, that invisible push, that was resilience. It's not a superpower, it's the quiet strength built from every challenge you faced. It's the memory of every time you fell but decided to get back up. It's the reason your story isn't over. There's a misconception that resilient people never break. That's not true. Resilient people break many times. They cry, they doubt, they fall apart. But the difference is that they rebuild. They don't stay broken. They use the pieces to form something new, something wiser, something unshakable. You've done that too, even if you didn't realize it. Every time you healed from something you thought you couldn't, every time you smiled after heartbreak, every time you tried again after failure, you were writing a new chapter of your resilience. The world celebrates results, but rarely acknowledges endurance. People will applaud your achievements, your success, your victories, but only you know what it took to get there. You know the sacrifices, the internal battles, the moments where you had to be your own cheerleader. You know how many times you had to motivate yourself when no one else believed in your dream. You know what it feels like to carry pain in silence and still show up with strength. That's resilience, not luck. You built that character through pressure. When you were younger, maybe you thought life would follow a straight line, work hard, succeed, be happy. But somewhere along the way, life surprised you with detours. Maybe you lost people, maybe you lost opportunities, maybe you lost faith for a while. But through all those losses, you gained something priceless, the ability to rise. You learned how to rebuild from nothing. You discovered how to breathe through pain, how to find light in the dark, how to keep walking even when the road made no sense. And that's the kind of growth no book can teach you. It's earned through experience, through struggle, through living. Resilience is not about being fearless. It's about facing fear head on. It's not about never falling. It's about falling and still having the courage to rise again. You faced storms, some that shook your confidence, some that tested your faith, some that left you questioning everything. But each storm has carved depth into your character. Each challenge has refined you. Without realizing it, every trial has been preparing you for the next level of your life. The same struggles that once made you cry are now the foundation of your strength. You didn't grow despite your pain, you grew because of it. Look back for a moment, not with regret, but with gratitude. Look at how far you've come from where you started. Think of all the things you once prayed for that are now your reality. Think of the people you've become stronger than. Think of how differently you react to challenges now compared to before. That growth didn't happen overnight. It was slow, uncomfortable, and often invisible. But that's what makes it real. Resilience is built quietly, behind the scenes, when no one is watching. It's born in the moments where giving up seems easier, but you keep going anyway. You might think your progress is small, but resilience is rarely dramatic. It's not loud, it's steady, it's patient, it's enduring. It's the process of transforming pain into wisdom, mistakes into lessons, and failures into stepping stones. There's beauty in that. Every scar you carry tells a story, not of defeat, but of survival. Every time you overcame something that once seemed impossible, you proved that your strength doesn't come from perfection. It comes from perseverance. Sometimes we underestimate our own journey because we're too focused on what's next. We want the next success, the next breakthrough, the next moment of validation. But pause for a second. The fact that you are still here, still trying, still believing, that is the victory. The world can't measure your resilience, but your heart knows the truth. You've done things that the old version of you could only dream of. You've outgrown versions of yourself that used to doubt everything. You've walked through pain that would have crushed you years ago, and you emerged with more clarity, more compassion, and more courage. There's something sacred about resilience. It's the thread that ties humanity together. Everyone faces storms, but not everyone learns how to dance in the rain. You did, and that makes you extraordinary. You've proven that circumstances don't define you. Choices do. You chose to move forward. You chose to heal. You chose to believe that there's still more ahead of you, even when the road felt endless. And that choice, made again and again, is what shapes destiny. It's easy to admire success stories from a distance, but the real story, the one that matters, is the journey beneath the surface, the nights of doubt, the moments of loneliness, the quiet decision to keep going. No one claps for you during those moments, but that's where resilience is born. That's where character is built. The reward is not just the success that follows, it's the person you become along the way. And maybe you're still in the middle of it. Maybe you haven't reached your ending yet. Maybe you're still fighting battles that no one sees. If that's you, then remember this: resilience doesn't mean the storm stops. It means you learn to navigate through it. You learn to trust yourself even when the future is uncertain. You learn that progress sometimes looks like survival, and that's okay. There's nothing weak about struggling. In fact, it takes immense strength to fight through a season that's trying to break you. The truth is, the most powerful people you'll ever meet are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who never stay down. The ones who've been through the fire and still choose kindness. The ones who've faced rejection but still choose hope. The ones who've lost everything but still believe in new beginnings. That's the essence of resilience, the quiet, unshakable belief that no matter what happens, you can rise again. And here's something to remember. Resilience isn't just about enduring pain. It's also about what you do afterward. It's about how you use what you've learned to build a stronger future. You don't have to carry the weight of your past forever. You can let it transform you instead of define you. Every hardship gave you tools, empathy, patience, discipline, perspective. These are the gifts that resilience brings. And when you use them to help others, to move forward, to create something meaningful, you turn your pain into purpose. So today, if you feel tired or uncertain, remind yourself that you've been here before and you made it. You've already survived days you thought would break you. You've already climbed mountains you once thought were impossible. You are not weak for feeling exhausted. You're human. But inside that exhaustion is proof that you've been fighting, that you care, that you still believe there's more ahead. That's resilience in action. You are not behind in life. You are not failing because things haven't happened yet. You're simply in the middle of the process that's shaping you into the person who will handle what's coming next. Growth doesn't rush. It requires patience. And resilience is what teaches you to wait without losing faith. Every delay, every setback, every closed door, they're not signs of failure. They're training for your next chapter. You are the result of your resilience, because every time life said no, you found another way. Because you turned pain into motivation, struggle into strength, fear into focus. You didn't let circumstances define you. You let them refine you. That's rare. That's powerful. That's you. There will always be people who don't understand your journey because they never saw what you overcame. They'll see your calm, but not the chaos it took to get there. They'll see your smile, but not the nights you cried. They'll see your confidence, but not the moments of self-doubt. And that's okay. Your story doesn't need to be understood by everyone. It just needs to be lived by you. So keep walking. Keep trusting yourself. Keep remembering that every challenge is a chapter, not the whole book. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by how you responded to it. And your response has been one of courage, faith, and endurance. That's what makes you unstoppable. You've already proven you can survive the worst days. Now it's time to believe that you deserve the best ones. You are stronger than you think, wiser than you realize, and braver than you've ever been told. Every breath you take after hardship is a declaration of victory. You've earned your place here. You've earned your peace. You've earned your congratulations. You are not a product of your pain. You are the result of your resilience. And that, more than anything else, is what makes your story worth celebrating today, tomorrow, and always. Growth is not always loud. It doesn't always arrive with applause, attention, or grand milestones that everyone can see. Most of the time, growth happens quietly, in the stillness of ordinary days, when no one is watching, when no one is cheering, when it's just you, your thoughts, and your choices. It happens in the moments that seem unimportant, when you choose patience over anger, understanding over judgment, calm over chaos. It's in those moments that the roots of who you are stretch deeper, even if on the surface, nothing seems to be changing. We often think of growth as something that can be measured, a new job, a new house, a degree, a milestone achieved. But the truth is, some of the most important growth leaves no visible mark. It happens inside you. It's the shift in your mindset, the peace you find in places that once made you anxious, the ability to walk away from what no longer serves you without resentment. That kind of growth doesn't make noise, but it's the kind that transforms everything. There were days when you used to react to everything, to criticism, to delay, to disappointment. Now, you pause, breathe, and respond differently. That's growth. No one may notice it. No one may say, "I'm proud of you for staying calm when that person tried to provoke you." But you should know that moment counts. Every time you choose peace over proving a point, you're growing. Every time you choose to stay instead of run, listen instead of argue, try again instead of quit, you are evolving. It's quiet work, but it's powerful work. Growth often hides inside discipline. It's in the morning you wake up early to chase your goal, even when no one would know if you stayed in bed. It's in the late night you spend reading, planning, learning instead of scrolling. It's in the commitment you make to yourself when no one else believes in your vision yet. The world may not clap for that effort, but the future version of you will. You don't need a stage to prove you're improving. Sometimes, the greatest victories are the ones you keep to yourself. There's beauty in the kind of growth that isn't validated by anyone else. Because that's when you know it's real. It's not for approval, it's not for attention, it's not for recognition, it's for peace, it's for purpose. You're growing because you know you're meant for more, even if no one sees it yet, and that's what makes it sacred. The loud kind of success may impress others, but the silent kind, the one that teaches you patience, faith, and balance, that one transforms you. We live in a world that celebrates speed and visibility. We post our achievements, we share our highlights, and we measure our worth by how quickly things happen. But real growth doesn't work like that. It's not a race, it's a process. It's the slow unfurling of something that takes time to mature. A seed doesn't shout when it breaks the soil. The roots form first, deep beneath the surface, where no one can see. Only later does the flower bloom. You are that seed. You are still becoming. And even if no one sees your roots, know that they're growing stronger every day. There will be times when you feel unseen, when your efforts seem unnoticed, when your progress feels invisible. Those are the moments that test your belief in yourself. Can you keep going when there's no applause? Can you trust that what you're doing matters, even when it's quiet? Because that's where growth becomes real. Loud achievements are temporary. Quiet transformation is permanent. Think of all the habits you've unlearned, the toxic patterns you've broken, the relationships you've outgrown. Those things didn't happen overnight. They took reflection, courage, and self-control. You had to face your own flaws and forgive yourself for them. You had to choose healing over hiding. That's not something the world praises you for, but it's the foundation of everything you'll become. Growth that starts within can't be taken away by circumstance, because it's not built on validation, it's built on self-awareness. You may not feel like you're moving fast, but fast isn't the goal, forward is. The smallest step in the right direction still counts as progress. The quiet seasons, the ones where you feel stuck or unnoticed, are not wasted time. They are preparation. The roots are strengthening. The soil is being enriched. The patience you practice today will become the stability you'll need tomorrow. There's a lesson that only silence can teach. When the noise fades, when the attention stops, when the crowd moves on, that's when you hear your own voice clearly. That's when you discover what really matters to you, not to the world. That's when growth takes its purest form. You begin to act, not for applause, but for alignment. You begin to move, not for validation, but for fulfillment. You begin to live, not for appearance, but for authenticity. That shift doesn't make noise, but it changes everything. Sometimes the people around you won't understand the new you. They'll say, "You've changed," and they'll be right. Because you have. You've grown. You've let go of what used to define you. You've stopped chasing approval and started pursuing peace. You've stopped explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. You've stopped shrinking to make others comfortable. That's growth. It's not glamorous, but it's glorious. Quiet growth also means forgiving yourself for not knowing better before you learned. It means releasing guilt for the things you couldn't handle when you were still healing. It means showing compassion to your past self, the one who was trying their best with what they knew at the time. Growth is realizing you don't have to hate the old you to love the new you. You needed every version of yourself to get here. Every mistake was a teacher. Every detour was a lesson. Every delay was divine timing. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your healing. You don't have to broadcast every change you make. Some things are too sacred to share. The world doesn't need to witness your evolution in order for it to be real. Let your silence speak for you. Let your peace become your proof. When people notice you handle things differently, when they see the calm in your eyes where there used to be chaos, they'll know. You won't have to announce it. There will be moments when you feel discouraged, when it seems like everyone else is moving faster. You'll see others achieving things you've been praying for, and you'll wonder why your turn hasn't come yet. But remember, growth is not comparison. Everyone's timing is different. Flowers don't bloom all at once. Some take longer to blossom, but when they do, they stand out in their own season. Don't rush yours. Don't let the noise of other people's progress drown out your patience. Your path is not behind. It's being built in its own divine rhythm. Growth is not loud because it teaches humility. It reminds you that progress isn't about proving something. It's about becoming something. It's about learning to handle success without arrogance and failure without despair. It's about realizing that you can be proud of yourself without needing anyone else's permission. When you truly grow, you no longer chase validation. You find satisfaction in alignment, in knowing you are walking toward your purpose, even if the path is quiet. And sometimes, quiet growth is the hardest kind, because there's no external reward, no visible sign that you're getting somewhere. You just have to trust. You have to trust that the late nights will pay off, that the inner work is shaping your character, that the pain you're enduring is producing strength. You have to believe that even when you can't see the results, the roots are spreading, and one day, they'll support the life you've been dreaming of. You may not see it yet, but everything you're doing matters. Every time you choose to do the right thing when no one is watching, that's building integrity. Every time you control your emotions when you could have lashed out, that's building maturity. Every time you walk away from what doesn't serve you, that's building self-respect. Every quiet victory adds up. And one day, you'll look back and realize you've become the person you used to look up to. Silence doesn't mean stagnation. Stillness doesn't mean nothing is happening. Sometimes it means you're aligning with a greater purpose. Growth takes time because it's meant to last. Quick success may feel good, but it fades just as fast. The kind of success that comes from quiet growth, the kind built from discipline, reflection, and faith, that kind endures. That kind sustains you when the applause stops and the spotlight moves on. So, don't be discouraged if no one sees your progress right now. Don't doubt the value of what feels invisible. You're not behind, you're being refined. The work you're doing in silence will echo louder than anything you've ever said. And when your season of blooming arrives, it won't just be beautiful, it will be undeniable. People will think it happened overnight, but you'll know the truth. It was years of quiet, unseen, uncelebrated growth that made it possible. Growth is not always loud, but it is always powerful. It changes you from the inside out. It builds a foundation strong enough to handle the weight of your destiny. It prepares you for blessings you once weren't ready to receive. It humbles you, softens you, strengthens you, and shapes you into the kind of person who can thrive no matter what happens next. So if today feels quiet, if you feel unseen, unheard, unnoticed, don't despair. This is your growing season. The world may not hear it, but your soul does. Every small act of courage, every quiet decision to keep going, every private moment of reflection is shaping you. Don't rush the process, trust it. The loud moments will come in their own time, but for now, embrace the silence. It's not empty, it's sacred. You are growing, even when it's quiet, even when it's slow, even when no one sees it. You're learning, healing, changing, becoming. That's the kind of growth that doesn't fade. It endures. One day, you'll look back on this season of stillness and realize it was the most important part of your journey. Because it's in the quiet that you built the strength to stand tall when your time finally came. So keep going, keep believing, keep nurturing your roots. Your growth may not be loud, but it is real, it is lasting, and it is leading you somewhere beautiful. The future starts right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when the timing feels perfect. It begins in this very breath, in this very heartbeat, in this very moment where you decide to believe in yourself again. Too often, we look at the future as something distant, something we'll meet after we've figured it all out. But the truth is, the future is already unfolding with every thought you think, every choice you make, every action you take today. What you do now shapes what you will become. The future isn't waiting for you to be ready, it's waiting for you to begin. There's a quiet power in realizing that you don't need to have everything together to take the next step. You just need courage, the courage to start, even if you're scared, the courage to move forward, even when the path isn't clear, the courage to trust that you are capable of more than you've seen from yourself so far. Every dream you have, every goal that stirs your soul is waiting for this moment of decision. Because the future doesn't belong to the people who wait. it belongs to those who act. Maybe you've been hesitating. Maybe fear, doubt, or the memory of past failures has been whispering that you're not ready. But think about it. How? Many times have you waited for someday, only to watch the days slip by, one after another? The truth is, there is no perfect moment. There's only now. Right now, you can choose to shift direction, to plant a seed, to start something new. You don't have to see the entire path to take the first step. You just have to start walking. The future doesn't arrive all at once. It unfolds slowly, shaped by consistent effort. Every decision you make, what you focus on, what you nurture, what you let go of, is building the life ahead of you. It's easy to underestimate the power of small actions, but everything begins small. The habits you build today are the architecture of your future. The discipline you practice now is the foundation of your success. The thoughts you allow to live in your mind will determine the direction of your life. That's how powerful this moment is. You've already lived through days that felt endless, challenges that felt impossible, pain that felt permanent, and yet you're still here. That means you've already proven you can handle hard things. The question now is, will you use that strength to shape what comes next? The future isn't written by luck or chance. It's written by those who show up for their own potential. Right now, as you sit here breathing, you have a choice. You can wait for something to happen, or you can decide to make something happen. You are not too late. You are not too early. You are exactly on time for your own journey. Don't let the illusion of other people's timelines distract you from your own purpose. The world will tell you that success has an age limit, that dreams expire, that certain doors close forever, but that's not true. The door to your future never closes as long as you're willing to walk through it. The universe responds to action, not hesitation. Every moment you choose to move with intention, you create momentum that reshapes what's possible. The future starts right now in the choice to forgive yourself for the past. You don't have to carry yesterday's mistakes into tomorrow. You can let them go, not because they didn't matter, but because they taught you something valuable. Every failure was a lesson. Every disappointment was direction. Every loss cleared space for something better. The moment you stop punishing yourself for who you were is the moment you free yourself to become who you're meant to be. The future can't begin until you stop reliving the past. Right now, there's a version of you that you haven't met yet. Stronger, wiser, more peaceful, more powerful. That version of you is waiting on the other side of action. Every step you take today, no matter how small, brings you closer to becoming them. Maybe it's sending that email, applying for that job, starting that workout, writing that page, making that phone call, or finally saying what's been on your heart. Whatever it is, it matters. Your future self is built from these small acts of courage that happen in ordinary moments like this one. Don't wait until you feel confident to act. Confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first, and confidence follows. The only way to become who you want to be is to start acting like that person now. The future is not a place you arrive at. It's something you create with every decision you make today. It's built from persistence, not perfection. You don't have to know everything, you just have to keep moving forward. There will always be reasons to delay fear, uncertainty, the comfort of the familiar. But comfort is the enemy of progress. Nothing grows in a place of complete safety. If you want to see a new version of your life, you have to be willing to leave behind the version of yourself that keeps you small. Growth asks for risk. It asks for faith. It asks for movement before proof. And if that feels scary, good, that means you're alive. That means something inside you is awakening. The future starts right now when you decide to stop letting fear make your decisions. Fear will always tell you to wait, to doubt, to play small. It will whisper that it's too late, that you've missed your chance, that you're not capable. But fear is a liar. Fear feeds on hesitation. The moment you act, the moment you do the thing, it tells you not to. You take your power back. You prove to yourself that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to move forward in spite of it. Imagine this. 1 year from now, you could be living a completely different life if you start today. If you commit to one small action every single day, the compound effect will transform your reality. People overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. The difference between who you are and who you want to be isn't ability. It's consistency. Every time you show up, you're shaping the path ahead. The future starts right now in your mindset, in how you choose to think about yourself and your possibilities. When you start to believe that you are worthy of good things, that you can handle challenges, that you are capable of change, your world begins to expand. What you focus on grows. If you focus on lack, you'll see limitations. If you focus on opportunity, you'll see doors opening everywhere. The way you think determines the life you live. You don't have to wait for permission to begin again. You don't need anyone's approval to pursue what sets your soul on fire. The future belongs to those who dare to create it, those who stop asking, what if it goes wrong? And start asking, what if it goes right? Because what if it does? What if everything you're dreaming of is possible, and all it takes is one brave moment of action? The future is not something you stumble into, it's something you choose to build. And building it won't always be easy. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of doubt, moments of exhaustion, moments when you'll question if it's even worth it. But those moments are the test. They're asking you, how badly do you want it? Will you keep moving even when it's hard? Because the truth is, the people who change their lives aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. They show up even when it hurts. They keep going, even when no one's watching. They understand that progress is not about perfection. It's about persistence. If you want a different future, start acting like the person who lives it. Speak differently, move differently, think differently. Carry yourself with the energy of where you're going, not where you've been. Your future self is not waiting for a miracle, they're waiting for your decision. They're waiting for you to say, enough waiting, enough doubting. I'm ready to begin. And here's the secret. The future doesn't start with grand gestures. It starts with small shifts. The decision to be grateful instead of bitter. The choice to take care of your body. The courage to say no to what drains you. The faith to keep believing when results haven't shown up yet. The patience to understand that timing is divine. These small, invisible choices add up. They build momentum. And soon, you'll look back and realize that every tiny act of discipline, every quiet moment of effort, every ounce of courage, it all mattered. The future starts right now when you understand that time is not your enemy. Every day is a fresh chance to rewrite your story. Every sunrise is an invitation to begin again. You don't need to wait for January 1st or Monday or some special milestone. You can decide today that your life deserves better and then start working toward it, one choice at a time. Time is going to pass anyway. What you do with it is what makes the difference. One day, you'll look back and thank yourself for starting today. You'll thank yourself for not giving up when it was hard, for pushing through the fear, for believing in possibilities no one else could see. You'll realize that this moment, the one where you decided to start, was the turning point, the day your future truly began. So, if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. This is the reminder you've been hoping for. The future starts right now with you in this moment, deciding that your dreams matter, that your potential matters, that your happiness matters. No more waiting, no more overthinking, no more holding back. The power to change your life doesn't exist in the future, it exists in the decisions you make today. Right now, in this very breath, you can begin again. You can rewrite your story. You can take that first step. The future isn't something you find, it's something you create. And it starts the moment you believe you can. The future starts right now, and this time, you're ready.